Hi everyone. Welcome to our session here. Turn up the volume with Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation here. I am Kat. I am the one of Form Assembly's implementation specialists within the services team. A little housekeeping. This call will be recorded and provided to viewers next week. To the right are some resources to this webinar, and to the left is a little Q&A box. So feel free to use that at any time. And I am here today with Anne of Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation, who I had the pleasure of working with during onboarding, which just meant she was stuck with me for 2 months. Um, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ann Pennick. I am the Data Impact and Implementation Specialist with Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation. And yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of fun things today. So ask questions if you have them. Should I jump into the next one, Kat? Great. So, go ahead, Kat. You got this.
So we're just going to go through a little bit about Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation, and then we'll discuss about the implementation team or the services that Form Assembly Onboarding provides, as well as what OHHF's use goals and our use case goals and the challenges as well as the results. So you'll just kind of hop back and forth. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'll tell you all a little bit about Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation, or OAF, as we call it for short, because it can be a mouthful. We are working with families that are dealing with pediatric heart conditions, and you can see our mission on the screen. So we're working in many different pillars to help this population and our clients. And you see 4 of them here. We have our Ollie's Branch program, which was what we're going to delve into a little bit more today, and how that works with Form Assembly and the implementation team. We have a community outreach program. We do a lot in the technology and research space, and we even have a conference for medical professionals and families every year. We are in St. Louis, Missouri. That's our headquarters. That's where I am. But we have 17 hospital partnerships all around the country, and we reach clients in all 50 states. And our Take Heart conference actually is international. So we have people from other countries attending that as well. So in our 13 years, we have really expanded a lot and been able to accomplish a lot. Our huge fundraiser, which is called Eat, Drink, Love, is this weekend here in St. Louis. If there happens to be any St. Louisans around, feel free to reach out. But we are really proud of what we do and what we've been able to do as a small organization in a short time. So, things on our team and things that we'll talk about today. We have basically 3 audiences for our forms that we use with Form Assembly: our programs team, our fundraising team, and our internal teams. And all of them have different needs and different comfort levels, shall we say, with software. And one of the great things about Form Assembly has been the program being able to address all of those differing levels of needs and comfort, with me supporting them as our main person who's dealing or working in Form Assembly and getting things set up on the back end. So with our programs, which is what Ollie's Branch is, our main mental health, is our free mental health program that we provide in all 50 states. There's a lot of complexity that had to be taken into account. There's privacy issues. We have both PII and PHI, so we have to be conscious of that. And our results, we have partnerships with researchers, and so that's like who's getting information ultimately to improve outcomes for families. So a lot of different factors go into our programs forms and the way that they connect and interact with our Salesforce instance. Fundraising, as any of you in the nonprofit field know, is how we get the money to do the work that we do, and is our longest standing amount of data. So we had a lot of old data from different systems. We do several different kinds of events. Our founders are in the restaurant business here in St. Louis. So that's why a lot of our events revolve around food and drink and sharing a good time together. But we also do family events. We do fun runs, things like that. So different kinds of events that those needs need to be met. And then our fundraising team is, at least in our instance, our most reluctant users. They've been doing what they've been doing for the longest, and are slower to adopt new technology. And so that's where a lot of the support in form assembly has been really helpful for me to help them. And then internally, we also use forms just for consistency, for different processes that we need in-house, and then convenience. Having everything in one place is a huge deal and a huge bonus to be able to go to one place and get all the information that we need. So on that note, I'll pass back to Kat.
So, and a lot of clients that come and they use onboarding services, there are like two different types, right? There's one who already knows their use case and we get down in business like and them. Or there's another client who's not really sure. They're kind of like still working out their thing. We cater this onboarding service to you and your use case. So we work with you. But most of the time, when we have folks who join the onboarding service, it's usually new clients, completely new to form assembly, needs to get adjusted, has a team that needs to be trained in for certain aspects of form assembly. So that's where the foundational training is. And the foundational training consists of learning the admin dashboard, learning how to use the features within the form builder, learning how to use the connectors, and then the workflow. And I go through each one, or any of the implementation specialists goes through these with you. The best part is that they are live. So that means if you have a question, you can ask right away. And a lot of folks, they do ask us about their use case during training. So we do also go through that. You get to keep all these recordings. So anything that happens in the future, if you need to go back to it, you've got it. All the resources that we also provide with you. And there is a welcome call, and this welcome call just kind of lets you like get to know each other better, right? It's like that intro, you kind of get the little first date kind of hint thing. And then when you go through the onboarding, then you guys are communicating all the time for the next 2 months here. Then we have consultings. Consultings are usually in combination with the onboarding services, and they are there to guide you through more of a technical aspect of it. You can also purchase this separately, but if you purchase it separately, you probably won't see my face. so, um, so the consulting, they help you go through your use case. They guide you. So they let you know, okay, what is the best? What recommendations do I have? All that fun stuff, right? This is usually if you already kind of know how to use form assembly so that they can just assist you with extra features. And then we have the form building services. Now, this is like literally for folks who are like, I do not have time for this, or maybe I just don't want to build it myself. It's a little bit too complex for me. That kind of situation. That's where this comes in. We have this service for you to purchase if you want to be completely hands-on. It's usually a scoping call with our scoping advisor, who will talk to you about your use case, kind of get to know the ins and outs of what you want to happen, and then they will connect you with the best next steps to go with. If you're interested in any of these services, I think there's a link in that resource on the left side, or you can also reach out to implementation scoping at formassembly.com, or ask your CSM or AE. Anyone can connect you to us. You can even just hover over that little blue help button, submit a support request, and be like, I need to talk to implementation. So many different ways to access us. And I will hand it back to you, Anne.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes. So the way that we came to Form Assembly and the onboarding services and implementation team, we were actually having challenges with a previous vendor, and discussing those things and trying to find solutions. And my boss actually set a meeting that she thought was with that vendor to discuss our issues and try to find a solution, then she was not able to attend the meeting. And me and our programs director, show up to this meeting that we think is with one company and it was actually with Form Assembly. So we looked at each other and we said, all right, let's do this. Let's tell them about our challenges and see what Form Assembly has to say. And the meeting was amazing. We talked through all the things that we were struggling with, and this is with a sales team member or two sales team members, and they right away said, I think you're going to want to take advantage of our onboarding and our implementation services. And they were absolutely right. We started, as Kat said, we knew our main use case, which was our Ollie's branch intake form. So again, as I touched on, this is our mental health program, where we provide free or low cost mental health services to families affected by pediatric heart disease. So both heart warriors, as we call them, and their caregivers, siblings, grandparents, anyone that needs mental health support. Those dealing with medical trauma and medical challenges are vastly more likely to experience anxiety, depression, and PTSD. This was a need we identified more so starting in 2020. And we've built the program from there, and we service hundreds of families a year. We're already in the 10 months we've been working with Form Assembly, well over 400 families. And that's families, not individuals. And I believe in 2024, we had over 1,500 individuals that utilize these services. So it's a large program, and it's also complex. So one of the main things that we were struggling with was the interactions with Salesforce. That is our CRM that we use to keep track of our clients and donors. And we needed these households to be kept together, not coming in disparately to the system, because we have different addresses, different names, all sorts of different things. And we wanted a better way to represent that immediately from forms. We also have various permissions that we need to connect. We are not a healthcare provider, we're a contractor in between, but we have to be able to pass that information along. So we need permission, we need signatures, we need documentation, and to be able to upload all of those things seamlessly into the CRM was really important to us. Again, you can see the challenges. As I've said, it's complex. Anything involving health insurance is often very complex. People are covered by different programs, different systems, and getting all that information as quickly as possible for these families that are already dealing with a challenging situation, making that seamless, smooth, and easy was a high priority to us. And then also we were able to streamline what we call our match process, where we are getting the information from clients on their preferences, their availability, things they want to discuss and work on, different forms of therapy. And we were able to connect the intake form much more seamlessly using the Salesforce pre-fill connector, to the next steps of the match process, where we share the pertinent information with the therapist. We have all the signatures from our team, and we're able to keep all that documentation organized. So we started working in tandem with the onboarding process and the implementation team. So we were meeting with both Kat and Pao was our implementation manager. And we were meeting with both of them to both get the general lay of the land at Form Assembly and learn how to do all the things that, even if we didn't need to do them right now, we might eventually. And I really wanted to understand the system a lot better than our old system. And right off the bat, everything was much more clear. The organization of the onboarding program was very, very helpful. Meeting with Kat regularly, her checking in with us, giving us things to do in between meetings to practice and learn was really, really helpful. And at the same time, we were working with the implementation team on our need that we wanted to get into and to solve for right away. So this is just a sample. You can also get to the Ollie's branch form from the website, which is shared in the resources box. You can find out more about us, donate. You can read our stories. There's amazing stories on there, and get to several of our forms, including this one. So for those of you that are already Form Assembly customers, one of our favorite things is using the page navigator so that you can skip to different pages. It's very helpful when you're testing. It's also helpful for your clients if you allow them to move around within a form before submitting. But as you can see, this is a very large form. The other feature that we learned a lot about and POW helped us navigate was all the conditionals. So we not only have conditionals at the question level, but we have them at the page level. And I've seen some mentions of this in other webinars yesterday, and it's really, really helpful. But getting it all to work together as quickly as we needed, POW was very helpful in getting that going as quickly as possible, accounting for all the scenarios, and just laying everything out in a really logical form. So yeah, the multi-page navigation and conditionals were two of the really big things that we wanted to utilize right away. And then the other big thing was the Salesforce connector. If you have Salesforce and you're not using the Salesforce connector, you're doing form assembly wrong. I highly, highly recommend getting into it. I'm really excited about the new release coming next week. And this was where POW was the most helpful with getting the logic of the connector and getting everything set up in Salesforce. So you can see this is the example of the Ollie's branch intake form. We have accounts that we're adding, we have contacts, we have multiple forms that can be created, and we have multiple content versions, which is where you're importing documents. There's actually, I think, like 12 content versions that are created potentially off of this form, and getting all the logic and the skip ifs and the formulas and the lookups working correctly. That is where the implementation team really was instrumental and helped us do this. There's so much documentation at Form Assembly. There are a lot of things you can figure out yourself, but having someone to walk you through it live in real time is really, really helpful. And then when there would be things out of our meetings, using the service team also was really helpful, the chat feature or opening a case. And that's how I've solved small problems here and there since then. But the Salesforce connector and the Salesforce prefill, I don't have an example of that, but as I said, the form that we start with, the 16-page form, then goes to a smaller form and a smaller form and a smaller form to gather signatures, and not having to input the same data over and over and over again, and getting the prefill connector configured properly is incredibly helpful. It helps you save time, it helps you with accuracy, and it helps you to serve your clients and do your work better, whether your client is internal or external in this case. I'm just looking at the questions. We have the team tier. And yes, 10 pages. Most people don't do all 10 plus. It gets whittled down, but we have the options, which is great. All right, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our results as a result of this change. So we've been with Form Assembly since May, and we were able to implement our large form in June, so in just a few weeks, with all the support from Kat's team and POW's team. We have over 400 responses, as I have said, in that time and that's households, and even more clients, I'd say over 1,000. And we are actually at 32 active forms. So not only do we have the one, as we call it, the mega form, we have a lot of forms that we've been able to set up. We've utilized them for family events. We did like a hockey watch party, and to get feedback from those events, to get feedback from our clients. We have other programs. We have an Ollie's Plate program where we help with food when people are leaving the hospital. We have volunteer forms, all kinds of things. And so, yeah, we're at about 32 active forms. Some of them get retired seasonally, but that to be able to get to that level in a short period of time, my team has been endlessly appreciative. And we have actually added to our team. We have 4 additional care managers in this same time period because we're able to more effectively and efficiently handle the information that's coming in because of what we were able to set up with form assembly and the connectors. So that was a really big deal for our organization to add to our programs team in that way, because it means that more people are doing this work and we're able to help more people, which is always our ultimate goal. So if anyone else has any questions, we have time for some. Or Kat, if I forgot anything, let me know.
You did pretty good. No, you did great. I was like, yep, I remember that use case. So, let's see.
And I will
Mm,
also say, I mentioned before the resources for, self-service, the documentation, everything. Learning what you learn from the implementation team and the onboarding team also makes you more efficient when you're figuring things out on your own. Once you've set something up in one way, you can say, oh, this other situation is similar to that. Let me just, adjust it for whatever differences there are. It just really sped up our ability to launch this and start utilizing it. And we are so happy with our choice and with how quickly we were able to get up.
I love that.
Our Salesforce, we did not need to update our Salesforce org before or during. I guess I should say, depending on what you mean by update. Our instance was fine. We had NPSB. We had all the things that we needed, but in incorporating forms, there have been things I've moved, like within objects and things like that. Not to get too totally technical, but this is a semi-technical thing that the implementation team, or it's a technical thing the implementation team helps with. But yeah, we were able to make any changes ourselves on the Salesforce side.
Yeah, and to just add that to most of the times we implementation specialists will encourage you to have access, read and write access to those fields and objects so that it would make it easier during onboarding when we're helping you learn how to set things up. Otherwise, we do have clients who do end up like spending more time cleaning that in the back end. And then when we get back together for training, then we would go through the whole thing.
Yeah, and objects and fields. Objects we didn't have to do too much work on. Fields, we moved some things around and added and subtracted, like things that we weren't collecting anymore. We were collecting in a more granular way, for example. But yeah, I'm an admin of our Salesforce too, so I was able to do that. One of the big things that I worked with, or that Pau walked me through setting up, was links in our Salesforce instance using formulas. So we have, I can't really share our Salesforce because, PII and all those things, but on both the account object and the contact object, we added links to the next steps in the form. So it's sort of like we set up a workflow utilizing Salesforce. And I'm hoping to start using more form assembly workflows, but this really worked well for our solution. And it was not something I would have thought of on my own or been able to set up quite as easily. But once I walked through it with POW and the implementation team, I was like, oh, okay, that's how that works. And then we utilize it in a couple different ways. And we walked through using the URL redirects to connect to different forms as well. And again, like getting that syntax right the first couple of times is really a lot easier with a someone from form assembly to walk you through it. The service team can help too, but POW is able to really understand our instance and our use case, and that helped to just be like, oh, now you need this, let's do that, now you need this, let's try this, and working through things. So that was really really helpful as well. Yeah, she was able to think of things more quickly than I would have on my own, and that was invaluable.
Anything else?
Some good questions. Yeah, this is a more technical one. This is why I do my job, and the rest of my team is like, have fun. Just make it work. That is something. And as I said, the onboarding experience and the implementation team were able to just make this work. So we have a lot of ability to tweak things. I have a lot of ability to tweak things on my side so that my team, all they see is the end result working, things happening, things where they need them to be in Salesforce, responses where they need them to be in form assembly, and seamless connection between the two.
I think
We use NPSP,
okay.
and yeah, I'm just looking at the questions. And yeah, and we use the URL field in several ways. We use a couple of different things, but that is something in this Ollie's branch process we use a lot because it's going between a couple different teams. And I think another big reason, just to touch on this, our therapists are outside of our team, so they don't have access to form assembly and Salesforce the way our internal team does. And so to be able to have them in the process, that was really helpful and was another challenge that we needed to have a solution for, because it wasn't all people that had access to the same resources. Awesome. Well, I think if nobody else has any questions, thanks for the great questions, everyone. And yeah, if you need anything about Ollie Hinkle Heart Foundation, my email is ann@theoaf.org, and would love you all to learn more about our organization and what we do and what we're able to do with form assemblies support and help. It's been phenomenal.
Yep. And if anyone wants to reach out to the onboarding team or services, or the easiest way is just to go over to that blue help button and click on support and then ask for what you want. And then they will forward you to whichever team. Thank you guys all so much.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of FormFest.